All right. My name is Tammy Trainer. I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions here at MCPHS, and I want to welcome each and every one of you to our info session for the Doctor of Physical Therapy here. We're super excited that you're taking the time out of your afternoon to join us. We hope that all of your questions will be answered and that you'll walk away with a better understanding of not only our institution, but the DPT program. So before we get into anything else, I definitely would like to do introductions because we do have some visitors with us. We have with us you're called the admission ambassador, right? We kind of changed the names up a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you can introduce yourself, Jordan, that would be great.
All right. So my name is Jordan. As Tammy said, I am an admission ambassador. I am in my second year of the DBT program. I'm originally from Rhode Island. So if there's any questions specifically about transitioning to another state, granted, I know Rhode Island's only an hour away, but I did have to transition to another state, and I've lived both on and off campus, which we'll talk about later. But I can answer any questions about that as well.
Right, great. And I'm super excited because we also have a faculty member joining us today, Dr. Babin. If you can introduce yourself.
Sure, happy to meet everybody. Dr. Cheryl Babin. I am the Associate Director of Clinical Education, Associate Professor in the School of Physical Therapy, and also one of the Center for Interprofessional Education and Practice Center co-leaders. I have been with the program since 2013 and excited that this year, 2024, celebrating our 10th anniversary of graduating our first student cohort. So it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yes, well, thank you for being with us. That is so exciting. Wow, that's great. So basically, the way this is going to work is that, we will definitely share information with you throughout the presentation. If you have a question that comes up, if you can please put that question in the Q&A part of the Zoom, you'll see it down at the bottom of your screen, Q&A. And then what we will do at the end of the presentation is definitely address any questions that are placed in there because we want to make sure that we give you time to get your questions answered. Okay. All right. So Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. Today we're talking about the Doctor of Physical Therapy program. And the first thing I want to do is share some information with you about MCPHS. So did you know that we have 100 programs spanning the healthcare space as a comprehensive healthcare university? So that means that every single course or program that we offer is surrounded around healthcare or healthcare based. 16% employment in healthcare occupations is projected to grow from 2020 to 2030, much faster than the average for all occupations. So healthcare is definitely the what you want to get into as far as job security and growth because it's definitely there. We just celebrated 200 years of preparing future healthcare leaders. How exciting is that? We've been around for 200 years. And did you know that we are the oldest university in Boston? Yeah, some people think it's Harvard, but actually we are the oldest university in Boston. Harvard is actually in Cambridge, so there is a difference. And we're the second oldest pharmacy school in the country. So we have seen it all. We've been through a lot of changes and we're definitely sustainable. So when it comes to students, we have over 7,500 students enrolled from all 50 states and 74 countries. 74 countries, wow. And our clinical affiliations are are massive. I mean, there's so many that I can't name all of them, but just to name a few, we have Brigham and Women's Hospital, Mass General Hospital, Boston's Children's Hospital, and so many more that we definitely will talk about a little later. So why MCPHS? Why are you here with us this afternoon? You know, what is it that makes MCPHS a choice for you as a student? Well, we're number one for earning power. That means that the Wall Street Journal, they did a ranking, and MCPHS was ahead of Georgetown and Harvard in the earning power of its graduates. So that is huge. We are number 3 in the country for value. A Georgetown study was done and had ranked MCPHS as the 3rd best institution in the US for the economic value it provides for its students. So you're definitely getting a return on your investment. And we're number 4 for most transformative. So that's based on metrics such as graduation rates and earnings. We are in the top 15% for diversity. Like I mentioned before, those 74 countries, extremely diverse student population as well as faculty population. And MCPHS produces top earners. We're ranked number 2 in New England and number 6 in the nation for median salary, ahead of other premier institutions. So those are just a couple things that I like to share with you so you know a little bit about our value and what we represent. So let's talk a little bit about Worcester. That's where we are located. That's where the Doctor of Physical Therapy program is located. In Worcester, Massachusetts, it is actually the 2nd largest city in New England, with over 200,000 residents and 38,000 college students, with 11 colleges and universities, all in one city. So it's very common to see college students walking around Worcester at any given moment. Definitely diverse clinical opportunities in Worcester. There's tons of hospitals and sites for physical therapy within a 10-mile radius of our campus. I know that our mayor has been working really hard to invest in Worcester and kind of, you know, revitalize the downtown area. So you'll see, if you ever visit Worcester, you'll definitely see quite a bit of construction going on as we're trying to revitalize. It is definitely immersive, year-round, professional healthcare focused academic community. We do have housing available, and there's always an active community that you can join. We have over 30 student groups and organizations within Worcester. So I want to hear from Jordan, our ambassador. Tell me a little bit about your experiences in Worcester.
So like I said, I'm from Rhode Island, so I compare Worcester a lot to Providence. A city's a city, and I personally think that Worcester compared to Boston is more like Providence, so it felt more homey to me. I personally really like living in Worcester. There's tons of stuff to do. There's so many restaurants. Like there's Main Street is just chock full of restaurants. So you never feel like, oh, like where am I gonna eat now? There's Puller Park, which my roommate actually worked at Puller Park, so we happen to be there a lot. That is for house of the Worcester Red Sox, or the Woo Sox. And the tickets are really cheap, so you can just grab a few friends and go see a Woo Sox game. Um, and even like Boston's a train ride away or a car ride away, and it's not that far. There's tons of hiking trails nearby. I live right near a park that has a ton of hiking trails. So I personally never feel like I'm searching for something to do. And I really like living here.
That's great, great. I like to hear that work-life balance that you're sharing with us, you know, because this is a rigorous program. However, you will need a life, you know, you need to do things for yourself. And so thank you for sharing that, Jordan. Absolutely. So we did mention that MCPHS offers housing. So when you think about housing, a lot of times our brains go back to undergrad with those little small rooms with the cinder block walls and the one window. So that is definitely not what we're offering here at MCPHS. This is a graduate program, so we want to definitely upgrade our housing options. We offer studios, suites, condos that are in close proximity to your classes. Within that, you'll find fitness centers, cafes, or study spaces available. And what I really like is if you're working on campus and you have to walk to your apartment, you can get an escort from our public safety team, which I think is phenomenal. Although, to be honest with you, Worcester is pretty safe. I mean, I have no problems walking to my car in the dark, and we have the police headquarters literally like adjacent to our Lincoln building. So we are definitely in a good spot. Now, as far as affordability, we believe that our prices or our rent is definitely competitively priced for the area. As you look around and look at different parts of Worcester, financial aid recipients may utilize part of their aid towards the cost of rent. It comes fully furnished units with all utilities included. So water, heat, all of that is included in your rent. Rent is charged once a semester to the student account. There's definitely parking available in those spaces. And so to learn more about housing, I think the best thing to do would be to schedule a campus tour. That gives you an opportunity to come and take a look at some of the options that we have. It'll give you an idea of what living on campus is like. Now, I know, Jordan, you lived on campus your first year. Is that right?
Yeah, I lived in one of the studio apartments on campus.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that experience and what was it like?
I always recommend on tours and whoever I'm talking to live on campus your first year, at least the first year, because I felt like it honestly set me up for success. You make friends really fast. Not that you don't if you're a commuter, but it is honestly easier to make friends with people on campus if you do live there. Because say if you're commuting an hour away, you don't get to attend the same opportunities sometimes as people who live on campus. Like if there's a last minute study group or people want to go out late, and then if you live an hour away, you can't like stay and have those interactions with people that I think are super important, especially in the first year that you are on campus. So I
Yeah.
always recommend it.
Yeah, so that first year is critical. You need that support. You need people around you for, like you said, things like study groups and so forth. So of course, if you want to learn more about housing, of course, I'm always available as the admissions counselor for the physical therapy program. So you can definitely reach out to me and I can provide you with any information that you need. So we are an interprofessional community. So as you look at this slide, you'll see that we have doctoral programs, master's programs, and bachelor's programs. And you're probably wondering what the W and the M stands for. So the W is for Worcester and the M is for our Manchester campus. And so you'll see that there are some programs that are in both Worcester and in Manchester. And so that's really our way of interacting with our campuses. So we're not isolated, but I believe that there's like distance learning that happens. Dr. Babin, could you maybe share a little bit about interprofessional community and programs that are in Worcester and in Manchester?
I'd be happy to, sure. The Worcester Manchester campuses that are linked, many of them are linked through accreditation standards and teaching. So for example, for the physician assistant studies program, it could be a cohort of students in Worcester in class with a faculty member teaching in person there. but there is also a cohort in Manchester who is simultaneously learning the same experience and receiving that same information, but it's televised via distance education. Our interprofessional community is unique. We are our own interdisciplinary, interprofessional team where our students are able to collectively in their programs engage with other programs to learn from, about, and with each other, and to prepare them for collaborative practice, which is so important for future practitioners to be able to work together and keep their patient at the center of their helm. So we have a lot of learning opportunities within the community, and in particular in the School of Physical Therapy. We have over 13 learning opportunities for our students, where there are 3 large-scale activities where up to 900 students are learning from each other across 2 campuses at the same time. And then smaller co-curricular activities where it's the School of Physical Therapy perhaps and one other program that are learning together. So thank you for
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, great information. Thank you. And this is pretty much leading us into what Dr. Babin was just speaking of, interprofessional education. This is where I feel that MCPHS really shines. I mean, it is a collaborative program, and you hear it sometimes called IPE, where it brings students together from different disciplines, schools, and campuses to teach and learn from one another, which I think is phenomenal. I think it's very real world, I mean, because you're not an island when you are out into the employment world, so you have to know how to work with others in different disciplines. So this teaches you how to address diverse challenges of the modern interdisciplinary healthcare team. So with that, we're going to move on because we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But let's talk a little bit about the MCPHS support services, because I think this is really, really important. It's the Center of Academic Success and Enrichment, which is called CASE. And this is how we support you as a student. There is nothing wrong with raising your hand and saying, I need help. That's the way life is. And so we want to be there for you when you do raise your hand. We offer academic counseling and support. There's one-on-one or group appointments, tutorial services, assistance to students in understanding academic policies. Then we also have academic success tools where we teach you about test-taking strategies, note-taking strategies, anything that you need help with. Definitely take advantage of this opportunity because it's going to definitely pay off in the long run. Is there anything either one of you wanted to add about CASE or the academic success? No? Okay.
I'd be happy to add something, Tammy. I think it superimposed, there's a commitment, not only at the university level, in the campus level, but within the program level for students' success. And the faculty are partnered right with you as students and work with you in a coaching model to help facilitate your learning and your experience within the program to be successful. So you're not alone. There's a whole community here of support.
Thank you so much. And that really means a lot, especially to a student coming in, may not be from this area, and not really knowing anyone. They definitely need that support system. So this is where we're going to kind of turn things over a little bit to Dr. Babin, because now we're going to get into the high impact learning of the DPT program. So take it away.
Our curriculum has a very unique design where we're pulling together lots of strategies in order for students to have successful learning outcomes. So we're focused on having a very contemporary curriculum modeled with student support and engaging our students immediately into clinical education experiences that start within week 4 of the first semester. The opportunity to be able to collaborate together with other students, but other practitioners too during your experiences are highly visible. And then also being able to integrate through the community of Worcester by doing and engaging in different service activities that are linked to the program, but also linked to the university and the campus. So student groups, for example, our DPT student group that gets engaged in community service. And then lastly, healthcare is an ever-changing model of service, and taking the most current information that is available to our fingertips and learning about evidence-based practice and how to use that information in our clinical practice as future practitioners is a high priority.
Right. All right, so this is a slide kind of explaining to us about the first, second, and third year. Dr. Babin, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great slide because this is a slide of our pro bono center on campus. It's our Balance Movement Wellness Center where our students, first year and second year students are integrated twice weekly in the spring and fall semesters to be able to work with community participants who come to campus twice a week and under the direction of faculty provide physical therapy services to them. The first year is a lot of foundational coursework. The curriculum is a building scaffolding model. And so courses that you're engaged with include anatomy, kinesiology, motor control, gait, and introduction to evidence-based practice as examples. The second year is more taking that information and applying it and applying your knowledge to patient management types of course where you're learning more direct information about physical therapy practice areas, such as in the musculoskeletal or neuromuscular, in pediatric and geriatric areas. Movement and exercise is the basis of our profession. And so movement and exercise is integrated and weaved throughout the curriculum. The third year is dedicated to all of our full-time clinical education experiences for our students, and they are consecutively based and run 10 weeks each in duration, which prepares our students for clinical practice in a variety of different practice settings prior to graduation.
Quick question, Dr. Babin. So when I'm looking at this picture and I see the students there with the lady that's in the picture, are these real like patients or are these actors, or like tell us like who are we serving?
Yeah, these are Greater Worcester community individuals who come to campus twice a week. And they generally are there because they are interested in working more on issues related to balance and issues related to strength and conditioning and wellness as well. Many of them have already gone through extensive physical therapy services, for example, but these are services that where they no longer qualify by insurance standards for skilled physical therapy services. So therefore, they are at a free or pro bono opportunity. So it's a wonderful give back to our community and giving back to our and allowing our students to learn from the community participants too. They themselves function like faculty, and probably Jordan is smiling, right? Because we learn so much, our students learn so much from our participants and as well in that experiential opportunity.
Yeah, that's great. Jordan, too. I'd like to hear from you, like your experience, especially in the be it MW, sorry, my brain is all over the place. Tell us a little bit about your first year experience and working with, individuals from the Worcester community. What was that like?
So it is a very mutually beneficial relationship. We get to learn from them, they teach us, and then we also can teach them some things. So it's very nice. In your first year, the first year student acts more as an aide almost. So like they're more in charge of guarding, taking vitals, assisting with exercises where needed, and the second year student is in charge of evaluating, creating a plan of care, enacting that plan of care, and discharging the patients, which I believe we get a little bit more into a little bit later, so I can talk about that more there. But it's honestly one of my favorite integrated clinical sites. I love it so much. I love all the patients that we see. You tend to see the same patients year to year, so you create such a good relationship with them, and it's so awesome to see them progress not only through the semester, but through both years that you're on campus and treating these patients. So I love it.
Yeah, oh, wow. And then I understand that it begins the first semester.
It's like 3 week after like the first 3 weeks you begin the
Wow.
integrated clinical. So you start, it depends on where you start, but BMW could be one of your first clinicals.
Wow, that is amazing. Amazing experience. Thank you so much for sharing that. So DPT school, as we mentioned before, is rigorous. This is a doctoral program. However, like we mentioned before, there is programmatic support and then there's university support. So I kind of talked a little bit about the university support with CASE, Center for Academic Success and Enrichment. But I didn't mention about the Office of Student Access and Accommodations. So we do actually have an office who works with students that need special accommodations or have special needs. So we definitely honor that, and it's something that we handle dearly. As far as the programmatic support, I'm going to ask Dr. Babin and Jordan, if any of you guys can talk to us about what type of support the program offers to students.
Yeah, maybe I can start, Jordan, and you can take it from there. I referred to this earlier a little bit about the community support that is at the university level and the program support from the faculty. All of our students work with a faculty member who is their coach, and you meet regularly. There are required meetings that are scheduled, but there can be informal meetings that they might request you attend, and or if you need some support from them. And so those meetings occur routinely within the curriculum. Additionally, our adjunct faculty are available as resource, and many of them are current practitioners in the greater Worcester area and are great experts and know our program well. And some of them are our grads, our former students who are engaged with our program today.
Wow.
And there's a lot of support processes available within the program that is linked through the campus support, such as CASE for academic success and enrichment. I'll leave the professional tutors and peer tutors to Jordan to comment to.
Thank you so much. So there are professional and peer tutors available as well. Peer tutors are the upper level years, tutor the lower level years. So like the second years tutor the first years. Definitely, I highly suggest using them. I know like in high school or undergrad, it's like not cool to use the tutors and you're like, why do I need a tutor? But PT school, just like any graduate program, is hard. It's a doctorate program. So it's just that added level of support that most of us need, especially within the first few semesters. Those are transition semesters. And I highly like you book a tutor and they've already been through what you've been through, so they can provide insight about not only the material that you're learning, but maybe study tips or telling you that you need to stop studying all day, every day, and like go have fun for an hour. So definitely utilize them. And there are also tutors that are like a little bit of a higher level, so they can offer a little bit more support as well. Those are the professional tutors. And also CASE is great. I'm currently working with CASE because I myself had a shoulder surgery. So they are very accommodating and they are more than willing to work with you and they want you to succeed, just like the professors here as well. Everybody wants to see you succeed, and it's not like every man left for themselves. So it's very collaborative.
I think that's great, Jordan. The one thing that I do want to say for students is that making the transition to graduate school is challenging. And the program is very demanding and rigorous. And I think you summarized it so well, Jordan, by saying the word tutor is a misnomer within our program, because many of the peers, which are, your co-students, or perhaps individuals that might be in the, upperclassmen, they're there for support, right? It is not, so learning new study habits and how to manage your schedule, and the how to manage all of the demands of the curriculum. And the professional tutors are, again, many of them who are adjunct faculty, who are experts in the area, know our program really well, and are some of our former grads too. So it's there for your success, because the program has a lot of demands and we want you to be successful. So taking advantage of these resources early on is so important.
Absolutely. I agree 110%. That is amazing. All right. So this is talking about the National Physical Therapy Examination, which is the NPTE preparation. Dr. Babin, would you like to share with us a little bit about how we prepare our students for this important exam?
Yes, sure. We start the preparation early in order for our students to be successful on the national exam. The NPTE is offered, is a requirement in order to practice as a physical therapist in the United States. The preparation starts in the spring of your second year. So Jordan is going to be exposed to that soon in this semester. But we have lots of preparing levels and experiences. And I would say it even starts in the first year, because we use a tool and a system for taking exams within the courses, and that's called ExamSoft. And so that's delivered on a computer screen. And so the National PT exam is also driven from a computer. So it's getting you used to taking exams online and getting accustomed to how those exams are delivered, and answering questions, and going through cases on the computer, in addition to practicing and getting used to using the content and applying the knowledge that you have.
Yeah, this is very a huge proactive approach, which I think is phenomenal. And I'm sure and I know based on our results and our outcomes that we're definitely being successful. So that's great. All right, so Dr. Babin talked a little bit about high impact learning. And this slide really just talks about the immediate integrated clinical education. We kind of mentioned that before, that it starts typically, I think you said, Jordan,
It's like week 3 of your first
week
semester.
3,
Basically
yeah.
starts immediately.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about, like, I see this first picture. Can one of you explain to me what this picture is about or what's going on?
That is either from the BMW clinic, or sometimes in our neuromuscular class, we have actual patients from the community come in, because it's one thing to try to act out feeling something like tone on your classmates who are able-bodied and don't have all of these deficits.
Mhm.
And it's different feeling it on an actual person who has tone. It feels completely different, and it actually gives you the experience of being able to feel that. So you're not out on your first clinical and it's like, I've never felt what tone feels like before. I don't know how to grade it. I wouldn't know how to document it. So we integrate actual patients even in classes that aren't in the integrated clinicals, so that we are able to learn from this and perform evaluations and treatments on people who actually have certain deficits or have tone or have certain conditions. So I love it. And we actually had one today in my neuro class.
That's great. I love the fact that I see the patients there in the middle. They look really happy to be there. And I can imagine the relationships that happen between you all and the patients. That's really great. All right, so this is what we were talking about earlier about our clinical education that's integrated. Dr. Babin, can you share with us about these experience settings and what this all means?
Yes, there are 5 integrated clinical education experiences that were referred to in the last slide. And these are opportunities where our students are out observing in a variety of different practice settings, depending upon what they're learning in the classroom. So our integrated clinical education curriculum has either observation experiences or application experiences. And those integrated clinicals occur during the full didactic years. So both year 1 and year 2, year 1, fall and spring, year 2, fall, spring, and summer. And so you will have exposure to all of these different types of practice settings in the Worcester area to be able to learn by observing different clinicians in these practice settings.
All right, excellent. I see we have just a few here, but I can imagine there's many, many more affiliations that we have.
Yes, I mean, you're talking my bread and butter. This is clinical education courses that I'm involved in teaching. So these are the 5 didactic courses within the didactic curriculum.
Wow. And is it true that some of our clinical affiliations are spread throughout the country?
Correct. Those are the full-time clinical education experiences, and those are the ones that
Okay.
occur at the end of didactic. And
Okay.
those are across the country. And
Okay.
many of our students take advantage of returning either home or go to visit with family and or friends or grandparents and or take the opportunity to explore the country while they're learning about physical therapy in another area of the country.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, so high impact learning, immediate integrated clinical education in our Balance Movement and Wellness Center. I know we've pretty much talked about this a little bit more before, but I remember Jordan and Dr. Babin telling us that our DPT2 students mentor the DPT1 students. I think that's phenomenal to have a mentor there with you who's learning with you, but who's been through that experience for the first year. They know what it's like, and so you can ask those specific questions and they'll be able to connect with you, performing patient evaluations and designing and implementing plans of care. So with all of this, Jordan, how intricate are you involved with patient evaluations and designing and implementing care and all of that?
So once you're in your second year, you're actually in charge. You are put into groups, usually of 3 or 4, and you are in charge of actually acting out the evaluation. And then within your group, you come up with a plan of care that's more, it's a little bit more collaborative in the second semester of second year. In the first semester of the first year, you're still following the patient, but you see other patients as well. Whereas in your second semester of second year, you follow the same patient throughout the entire semester. So it's a little bit more collaborative in that aspect as well. And then you are in charge of the discharge as well. And like you said before, the first year that's assigned, you're assigned a first year to a second year every single week. It's an amazing time to ask questions and really pick the second year's brains as well. I remember I was asking literally every single question that I possibly could because I was so nervous about even just like being there. Plus, like, you're going to have to be the mentor at some point too. So kind of like ask those questions, even about even being a good mentor to a first year student when you're in your second year as well.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal to have, just that person to go to that confide in and, they can kind of give you their perspective for sure. It's always good to have a soft place to fall. Like you said, you're nervous, this is your first time, and there's nothing worse than standing in a room and not knowing who to talk to or where to go to get help. That is the worst feeling. And so the fact that you have an assigned mentor in your first year, to me, is phenomenal. I think that's great. So, Dr. Babin, share with us a little bit about the Tunnel of Love. What is this all about?
This is a wonderfully fun experience at the end of each of the semesters for our Balanced Movement Wellness community. And it allows our students to celebrate with our participants and faculty their success at the end of each of the semesters. So we really appreciate the time and the work that our community participants bring and offer and learning opportunities to our students. So it's a great opportunity where students and the faculty celebrate our community participants.
Yeah, that's great. There's a video here. Hopefully it'll play. I don't know about the sound, but let's take a look. Ah, that is amazing. That's amazing. I love it. I love it. Wow. So we also have a simulation lab. Tell us a little bit about the simulation lab, Dr. Babin. What's going on here?
Yeah, the Worcester campus has a access in one of our Foster Street campus buildings where our students in the summer of their second year are able to practice some of their skills and that are used in complex medical environments, so hospital-based, kind of acute rehab-based experiences. So the pictures that you see here are students who are in lab practicing some of their skills, the skills that they've learned to mobilize patients in those practice settings. So it's a fun experience and it's a very engaging and learning experience. So you see lots of pieces of equipment and you see lots of lines, for example, that are used in those kinds of environments to manage when you mobilize a patient. And then more importantly, in the middle photo down the bottom, you see one of our teams of gentlemen who are moving one of our sophisticated mannequins. We don't use the mannequins in this particular lab, but some of our courses do use the mannequins, the Fidelity lab, for simulating different experiences. But we use the equipment in the room and the lines to have for teaching in this experience.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so earlier in our presentation, we touched on this a little bit, but we didn't really go in depth. And so I definitely want to give Dr. Babin and Jordan an opportunity to talk more about interprofessional education. This is definitely something that I feel is really important in our DPT program. And I would love for the two of you just to kind of share with us what it is and its outcomes.
Interprofessional education is where students from multiple or from different professions learn from, with, and about each other in order to improve patient care. It's the precursor, as I mentioned earlier, for students to be able to take those skills and apply them for interprofessional collaborative practice when they are practitioners. So we have a lot of different experiences available to our students that center around experiences and real world issues such as cultural humility or opioid use disorder, for example. We have a lot of opportunity to, again, engage with our community in different interprofessional activities, a falls awareness activity and health screenings for our community in the greater Worcester area, as well as in Jordan, you're getting this experience this week for dementia sensitivity training too.
Wow, Jordan,
We're
that
going
must be
tomorrow.
exciting.
And from a student's perspective, I find them very helpful. So even these are like mostly scheduled events where we either go to a particular room and we interact with all of these other health professions as well. And it's also part of the BMW experience as well. So we work very closely with the pharmacology students. And our BMW patients will give them a list of their current medications, how they're taking them, the actual prescriptions. And there's a conversation between the pharmacy students and us as PT students, where we kind of talk about like a plan and they review like all of the medications and how they're supposed to be taking them and all of that. So that's another big part of, especially the second year, when you're actually evaluating your patients.
Mm.
And we've had, even with like diagnostic medical sonography, where we actually got to see like how they actually perform their tests and all of that. So it's very cool to see. And like, it honestly gives you like a little like humility, like, oh, this is actually how you're supposed to be doing these. Cause like my patient will come to me with an Achilles tear. They'll say that it was diagnosed using an ultrasound. I don't know how that's done. So like we actually got to see how that's performed and what you're actually looking for. So very valuable experiences all around.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I love so much about MCPHS is that we are a healthcare based university. So all of the disciplines are centered around healthcare. So it makes interprofessional education that much more easy and that much more important for our students. So that's great. Now we are definitely active in the community. Not only does the BMW service Worcester residents through the free physical therapy clinic, but it looks like these are some examples of DPT students going out into the community. So this first picture looks like it says balance. I'm at the senior center, am I correct?
Sorry,
Oh.
my microphone was off. Yes, so this is a balanced screening activity that's done in the spring semester with our second year students, and it's done at, oh, this experience was been done at one of our community sites. I think this is the Worcester Senior Center.
Amazing. Okay, and in the middle, I believe they are learning Tai Chi.
Correct.
Wow, that's amazing. That's good practice. And then this third picture, do we know what's going on here?
Yes, this is two students collaborating together, likely looking at some assessment information or related to balancing and or falls.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, community service again. Again, just more opportunities for us to make our footprint in the community. So if you all can tell me a little bit about these three instances or three examples of PT students being active.
So I can talk a little bit about that. So the first picture in the top left, that is at a camp called Camp No Limits. And this camp serves children who have limb loss. So you're teaching them to say like ride a bike or like do things in their everyday life now that they have an acquired or genetic limb loss, now that they have their prosthetics. And then you not only teach the kids, but you also teach the parents that are attending as well. And it's an amazing opportunity if you have the opportunity to go, especially if you want to work with pediatric patients. The top right, I believe, is a jet pull. We haven't done that in a bit, so I don't know too much about that. And the bottom picture right there, that is where we volunteered at the Boston Marathon. We do that pretty much every single year. We hand out water to the runners, and it's an amazing opportunity for the service club. And it's just giving back to a community that is helping to serve you as well.
I can
Yeah.
speak to that jet pull. That is right. That is a pre-COVID activity where the students in the group did some fundraising and pulled the based on the money dollars that were donated, participated in this jet pull.
Wow, that is amazing. And so they actually had to pull the jet and make it move to earn money. That's phenomenal. Boy, I wish I could have been there to see that. That's great. All right. So talking a little bit about, again, in high impact learning, research integration. Dr. Babin, I think this is something that you definitely can share with us as far as research opportunities.
Yeah, we have a variety through our evidence-based curriculum and through the program to have our students be engaged in participating in research. So that could be happening at the local level or the regional or national level for involvement in conferences and conferences attending. So for example, at the local level, the shot on the right is students who are involved in doing some data collection related to a project that they were working on for baseball. And so they were out at UMass doing some data collection out there. The picture on the left is a picture of in our ballroom where our students were actively engaged in presenting their research findings with other students from the university. So we have a university scholarship day that occurs every spring for active engagement. So it's a great opportunity for our students to present their research, but it's also a great opportunity for the young underclassmen to go and observe and learn from the other students about the research topics. And then we had to have students who have attended conferences on the local, regional, and national level. And that's a picture in the middle of our students who were able to attend one of the conference out in San Diego last spring for the combined sections meeting that is sponsored by the APTA, or the American Physical Therapy Association.
Wow, great opportunities, great opportunities. And so this leads us, of course, to our outcomes. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what we definitely want to know. What am I going to get out of this? How is all of this going to impact me and my future, my career? So definitely, as we mentioned, we have a high retention rate. We talked about the NPTE preparation, but the pass and employment rates are all high. We have our clinical residencies and fellowships, independent business owners, leadership within the national physical therapy community, and graduates becoming clinical educators and adjunct faculty. I think that's phenomenal that graduates come back to MCPHS to serve their students. Is there anything that I missed on this, Dr. Babin or Jordan?
I think you did a great job on that. It's nice to know that you're still connected to the program. Like your intention of coming to the program is to become a physical therapist. But beyond that, after graduation, there's lots of opportunities for you to continue your career and growing that either in clinical residencies or fellowships, becoming a business practice owner, or leadership, at the local, regional, national level within the physical therapy community. But more importantly, being a part and still connected as an alumni to our program is so rewarding, not only to the current students, but to you as a graduate. It's nice to have Cardinals mentor Cardinals.
Yeah, that's nice. Absolutely. All right. So now we're kind of getting into my area of the program, which is application for admission. So the first thing you want to do is submit an application through PTCAS. PTCAS takes all of your documents and they verify everything. And all documentation goes to them. Once they verify all of your documentation, then they send us your completed application. So your application doesn't come to us until it is complete and verified. A bachelor's degree must either be earned or expected. So that means either you're going to be graduating soon, and we need all official college transcripts. So even if you took one class at a school for whatever, what have you, we still need to see that official college transcript. Our minimum GPA overall is a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. But I do want to emphasize the fact that we in admissions look at every single applicant from a holistic perspective. So we not only take into consideration your GPA, but also your letters of recommendation, Your personal statement is really important. That's not something that you want to just rush through, but we definitely take the time to read each personal statement because it tells us about who you are and how you can express yourself. So there is PT shadowing experience that is required. We require at least 10 hours. Completion of prerequisite courses done by August 1st prior to the start of the program. And so that means any outstanding prerequisites that you may be working on must be completed and your transcripts must be sent to us by August 1st. We require 2 letters of recommendation. 3 is preferred, but 2 is required. And if you are an international student, meaning that you've taken courses outside of the United States, you will need to submit a WES evaluation, which is World Education Services. And so they're going to generate a GPA for us based on your international transcripts. And then if everything looks great, after we receive your application, we will send you an invitation for a virtual interview. And that's where you get to meet the DPT faculty and talk about your application and learn about us as well. So it's definitely more of a dialogue situation. So when it says interview, I don't want you to think that you're sitting in the hot seat and it's like rapid fire. That's not it at all. It's really just getting to know each other. And we pride ourselves on doing that. We want to see who you are behind the application because you can, tell us who you are on paper, but we want to definitely match that with the actual person. So for admissions, we have rolling admissions, which means that students are applying and they're getting accepted day by day. So this is definitely not something that you want to sit on. You definitely want to get that PTCAS application in as soon as possible because we do have a limited number of seats available for this program, but the PTCAS applications are open for fall 24 and we're still accepting them. If you want a competitive application, definitely make sure that that cumulative GPA is strong. That's something, again, that we look at. We also look at your prerequisite GPA. But again, we want to know your interest. We want to know your experiences, what motivates you. And a lot of that is shown in the interview, but you can also share a lot of that in your personal statement as well. And then we also recommend a campus visit. We would love for you to come and see our Balance Movement Wellness Center in the PT clinic and get to meet maybe some of the faculty or just to see the facilities and see some of the housing that we offer. I think that will really give you a good perspective of this program and what it offers. So speaking of financial aid, all domestic students with valid FAFSA on file will be considered for federal aid. Each accepted student is considered for a merit scholarship up to $7,000 a year. And it is important that once you're accepted that you do schedule an affordability appointment. The affordability appointment is going to allow you to really take a look at your finances and determine what you need, what you have, and how you can get what you need, if that makes sense. But Lynn Berry is phenomenal. He's the contact for physical therapy. And so he will sit down with you one-on-one and go through everything with you. So that way you have an idea of the affordability. And that leads us to the end of our presentation. We hope to welcome you to our community soon. We would love to see you do a campus tour or come and visit the admissions office. We have no problem. We have an open door policy. So we would love for you to definitely come and visit with us. Now, we do have quite a few questions in the Q&A, so we want to definitely address those. Okay, So this first question says, I am an MCPHS undergrad. Does my healthcare profession scholarship apply to the DPT program? That is a really good question. And you know what? To be honest with you, I don't really have an answer for that. That's something that I'm going to have to talk with my director about because I've never been asked that before. Do any of you all know about that, Dr. Babin or Jordan?
I do not.
No, yeah. So, I am not sure who you are because you are anonymous. However, if you can email me, and my email address is on the screen, your question, and then that way I can email you back the answer because I'm definitely going to find that out from my director tomorrow. But that's an excellent question. So question number 2 says, can I ask how much scholarship MCPHS usually gives out to students? So we have the merit scholarship up to 7,000, depending on your PT-CAS GPA. We also have special recognition scholarships that we offer. Trying to think what else. I think that's pretty much it as far as scholarships. Now, I can't really say what the amount because the amounts vary depending on your need, your GPA. There's a lot of variations there. But that gives you an idea that we are definitely want to have scholarships available for our students. And that's where you definitely want to schedule that affordability appointment and talk with Lynn to get more information. I hope that answers your question. All right, so our next question says, which years, first or third, require summer classes for the program? That might be a Dr. Babin or Jordan question.
Yeah, I can answer that. So the program starts in the fall semester. So the first year is fall semester, spring semester, summer semester. The summer semester is a little bit consolidated. Instead of the traditional 14-week or 15-week semester, it's consolidated into 10. So that's the first year. The second year then starts again in September as a second year, and that's fall semester, spring semester, and a short summer semester in didactic as a second year student. Later in the summer, you transition quickly in the month of July or early August into a third year student and start your full-time clinical education experiences. And those run for 30 weeks, which brings you to the following spring when you will graduate in May. So hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, thank you very much. So our next question is about our Pathways program. And for those of you that do not know, we do have a Pathways program where you can spend 3 years in Boston, getting a health science degree of some sort, and then transition here to Worcester and spend another 3 years doing the doctorate of physical therapy. So it's just kind of like a program that is sort of continuous. But this person wants to know, when do they receive the degree? I'm assuming they're talking about the undergraduate degree.
Yes, I'd be happy to answer that one too. So the first 3 years of the track starting in our Boston campus undergraduate is in Boston. And then your 4th year of undergraduate, you would start in the DPT program in Worcester. And so then you're eligible to receive your bachelor's in the spring of your first year in the DPT program, which would be at your first year on campus. So that would be your bachelor's degree, and then you'll confer your degree in physical therapy 2 years later.
Yeah, wow, that sounds like a really great opportunity.
It's a wonderful opportunity to consolidate and complete the program in 6 years instead of the traditional model of 7.
Right, absolutely. And just as a bonus to let you know, if you are in the Pathways program, typically your curriculum is going to cover the majority of your prerequisites. So when you do apply to the DPT program, most of those prereqs that we require, you would have met those in Boston. So that really definitely helps you a lot. All right, and so our next question is from Caitlin, and she says, if you are invited to an interview, what does that entail? So our interviews are virtual. So if you are invited, you will receive a Zoom link. And basically, it starts out with us introducing ourselves. There's a presentation by faculty, and then we break up into breakout rooms so you can have your one-on-one session with your interviewer. And then after that, you come back to me. We do a little talking about admissions and so forth. And that's really the last step in the process. After you interview, typically you'll get your admissions decision within a week or so. But if you are invited to an interview, that's definitely a good thing. That's a plus. So you definitely want to make sure that you schedule that or attend. So hopefully I answered that. Okay, and our last question is from Daniel. He says, I have already graduated with the Bachelor's of Science and I'm looking to finish prerequisites of both Physics 1 and 2 before fall 24. But I have ample time to finish both using MCPHS online courses. Ooh, great question. I love that. Absolutely. Our online courses are self-paced. They are online, they're asynchronous. So that means you're not going to have, those set times where you have to be in front of your computer. By them being self-paced, it means that you can finish a lot earlier than 16 weeks, because that's typically what a course will last. But you can definitely, pace yourself to finish a lot quicker than that. Am I missing anything with that? Or did I
No,
answer that?
I think you did a good job summarizing that, Tammy. The point is to make sure that you have your prerequisites completed by August 1st.
Right. That's the bottom line. Yeah. Yeah. And MCPHS online courses, like I said, are very convenient because when you do finish, you don't have to worry about sending us a transcript because it is in-house. So I can retrieve your grade a lot quicker. So that's definitely a bonus. So he said, I have another one here. Additionally, Jordan spoke about a work-school balance. Is this something that can be done while still having the primary focus of schooling?
I can take that over. So the life school balance is very tricky to kind of figure out, especially within your first semester. You do have a lot of people telling you to like take a break from studying, go for a walk, hang out with your friends. And there's a lot of collaboration between the classes as well. So the second years tend to set up events that are outside of like the MCPHS like campus and everything. Like sometimes we'll go to a brewery with like the first years and we'll have like a little like powwow there for a bit. And that's to encourage like that like school life balance. For work as well, I would focus solely on schooling, do not work during your first semester. You'll hear that from pretty much anybody that you speak to about a graduate program. I started working in my second semester. I started working for admissions. So finding something like that where it's like a few hours a week. My roommate also, she's pretty much worked like from spring on. So she's a great example of it is possible. Again, do not work during your first semester. You're getting into the program and it's ramping up really fast and you need to figure out like how you like to study, and honestly taking on all the coursework. And again, it is very important that you also have that life balance as well. So like you need to go out and hang out with your friends and you shouldn't be locked away in your room studying for all of the hours that you are awake and then even sacrificing sleep for it. Definitely take breaks. Like while you are in school, obviously your focus is school, but also your mental health, your physical health, your well-being is also very important as well. Because if you are like lacking mentally, your schoolwork is also going to be lacking. So it's definitely very important that you need to like find a balance between all of them. And I'm not going to lie, it is very difficult, especially within the first like semester to find that balance. But you do have external resources that are there to help you find that balance as well.
Yeah, that's great,
Hope that
great.
hope that
Yeah.
helped.
Excellent. And our last question, how long does it take for a student to find out whether they got accepted or not from when they've submitted their applications? So to answer that, there isn't really a set time. I would say anywhere from maybe 2 to 3 weeks, just because right now we are really in the thick of applications. This is where a lot of students now are pouring those applications in. And so it does take a little while to review them and determine whether or not an interview is necessary. However, if you have a personal question or have a concern or want to talk with me about your application, again, my email address is on the screen, as well as my office and cell number. You definitely want to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to talk with you and answer any other questions you have about your application if it's already been sent in. All right, well, that concludes all of our question and answers. We are so thankful that you all spent time with us. I know we went a little over schedule, but we really appreciate each of you. And Dr. Babin, we want to close with you giving advice to any student who's thinking about applying to the DPT program. What can you say?
I'd say that if you're passionate about a wonderfully rewarding career in physical therapy and want to be able to be exposed to a variety of different practice settings while learning within the classroom, then this is the choice for you.
All right, excellent. Jordan, what would be your last words of advice?
I would definitely recommend submitting the application, even if you do have like a prereq or two missing, because you can still be accepted under the condition that you complete them. So even if you think like, oh, I still have to do a class, because I personally also had to finish a class, and part of my conditions of acceptance was that I finish it just before August 1st. So definitely still submit it. There's still very much a chance that you will get accepted, and that's not going to hinder it if you're missing like a prereq or two.
Yeah, excellent. And my last words of advice is just communicate, communicate, communicate. Anything you need to know, it is always easier to email or call. And so that way you're able to get the answers that you need, because that's what I'm here for. I love to assist, always happy to answer any questions. So that's pretty much the end of our information session. We again appreciate your attendance and hope, if you haven't applied, we hope to see your application in soon. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye, Tammy. Goodbye, Dr. Babin.
Thank you. It was so good to see you, Jordan.
Thank
Stay
you.
well.
Good to
Bye,
see
Tammy.
you.
Have a nice evening.
Yes, thank you all so much. I really appreciate all your help. I really do. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. All right, take care.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye.
bye-bye. Good night.